this edition of An Author's Afternoon with Tanya Mendonsa. Normally these events are towards the end of the week on a Friday, Saturday, but with a peripatetic soul like Tanya, we had to work hard to fix a date. So we ended up at the start of the week, and I thank you all for coming in despite such inclement weather. This is also a first for us because this is the first time we are featuring a painter and a poet in that order, I think. So it will be great to hear her perspectives and her take. And talking to her this afternoon is our very own Nilanjanaa, entrepreneur, producer, animal activist, perhaps doesn't need too much introduction to this gathering. So with that, I'll hand over. But before that, can I request Modurima to welcome Tanya with a Uttariyo? Thank you.
And it matches perfectly.
I was crying because I felt terrible about the fact that here was someone, who's so crazily and madly and chaotically in love with not the animals but the sons, the children. And I had suddenly somewhere lost this love. In the past 10 years that I've been married and I have 2 children now, so the responsibilities of being a mother had taken over. But I completely went back to what I should be doing, and so when I came to meet Tanya this afternoon for lunch, we said we should meet up before we have this thing, and I brought along my scrapbook because I wanted to see my scrapbook of all the dogs that I've met in the past 38 years.
And mostly adopted.
And mostly adopted, dogs and cats. So this book just did it for me, it was like an eye-opener, and the language she uses is so simple. And the visuals she's created, I just know how it must feel in her living room in Goa, sitting there at the lovely garden, or in Bangalore, or now in the Nilgiris. So for me, this is definitely, I would term it as the autobiography of Joshua. And it's a fantastic book. And Tanya will have to take over from here.
Thank you so much. I have to tell everybody right away that Joshua actually has no fans. While he was alive, we had to put him to sleep in April, and it was the worst thing I ever had to do, and I'll never have another dog again. But I was so glad I wrote this tribute to him. But Joshi in his lifetime, Joshua for me is like a metaphor for life, The book is about animals, but it's also just about this zest for life and adventure and never being frightened of anything. He was never afraid of anything because he had everything he wanted from the minute he was born. So how could you be afraid of anything, And he didn't anticipate anything bad ever happening to him, which meant that actually nothing bad ever happened to him. Or if it did, I was there, we were all there to protect him. And anyway, but Joshua never had any fans, And when the first time I went to France, leaving him to see my friends, for my best friend's wedding, that's why I had to go. And so they were all waiting for photographs of our home in Bangalore and how we lived and our friends and all this kind of stuff. And all I had were albums full of Joshua, just Joshua, just pictures of Joshua. And so I was in the plane when I was going over, and I always flew Air India. I was always very patriotic. And in the plane I was congregated with the other smokers, like criminals, in a tiny space. They still had that space. And I had this photograph, I was having a good cry. So this Frenchman next to me just very patting my shoulder, and he said, "You're missing your man, aren't you?" I said, "No, I'm missing my little boy." But I'd like you all to ask questions.
Well, something from this end of the room to do more with the book of Joshua than
Yes.
this one.
Yes.
Although we've kept pets for thousands of years, quality accounts of interactions between humans and animals,
Yes.
so difficult to come by. Why do you think that is?
It's not.
People don't write about this. You get one Black Beauty.
There are so many books.
Oh, you've got one Hachi, even the movie.
Yeah.
But sir, I think Mohan, I think that there are so many books. It's just that they don't get the publicity. Like for example, I really have something to say about, forget about the publishers, that is even worse. I say any publicity I got for the book of Joshua, as I said, I don't do the internet, I don't do Twitter, I don't do Facebook, I do not send out stuff about my book. I mean, I'm incapable of, I could do it if I wanted to, but I will not do it. So in the old days, I mean, Dickens was a hero, you know. Robert Browning, the poet, got a state funeral. Jane Austen, they all wrote by hand. You know, none of their books were dedicated to anybody. It was just they wrote well, and people read. You know, people read. There is also that to say. You know, people read. Only one journalist commented on this on the quality of my writing. Only one. The rest just they want something sensational, you know, or they want something unusual, or they just quote from the back of the book, the blurb on the back of the book. So I mean, there was only one journalist in the Sunday Guardian, Pawan P. Kaur. I remember his name, of course, because he was the only one who commented on the quality of my writing, and he said he compared it to Joe Ackerley, who wrote this wonderful book called My Dog Tulip. And the very fact that he'd heard of Joe Ackerley, you know, made me want to kiss his feet, you know, because I mean, nobody else had. So I mean, and to be, you know, compared to him was a great compliment, but not one journalist.
But I think that's the laziness of the media, in the sense that the readers exist. If you churn out books like that, I'm sure readers will read. No,
well, you see, there again.
The media ignorance. Ignorance. I think everything is about sensationalizing the whole thing. If it's sensational,
we better be careful. I mean, we do have a
He might scrap his own series.
I do not want to antagonize her because I will never get this kind of publicity again. So I'll say anything you want me to say. Let's forget about the media. Let's concentrate on the publishers now. All have something very bad to say about them. Now, what one has to do now, frankly, is you have to not just create, and I'm talking about the artist community as well, unless you're a very big name and have already made it, and have a gallery behind you, permanently, who does all your publicity for you. Even then you do a lot. But for every painter that I know, and we know a lot of them, and for every writer that I know, and we know a lot of writers, you're supposed to produce the work, and that's the easiest part of all. You've got to promote it and you've got to sell it. And you're on your own. I mean, I know the publishing houses are in trouble now. And I was again very lucky because I had no trouble with my first book of poetry. I had a good friend called Sudeep Chakravarti, who's an excellent writer. And he just called up the chief editor of HarperCollins and said, I'm sending you this manuscript by email, please read it. And she immediately called me up and said, I'd love to. They did, at that point, one book of poetry a year. And she instantly said yes, so I didn't have to look anywhere. And I had the good fortune of Amitabh Ghosh writing me a blurb for the cover of the book. Again, with no effort at all. He happened to buy a house in a village next to mine in Goa and had come over one evening and that's it, because he wanted to see Antonio's work, I think. And we talked about writing and that.
Serendipity.
Pardon?
Serendipity.
Exactly. And again for the book of Joshua, I was very lucky to get a quote from Jilly Cooper because I wanted an international name. And she's very, very big and very, very big in the UK. And all her books are blockbusters and they're crammed with animals. And she also writes so brilliantly and she's so funny, you know. And again, through very close friends, I said, we have no money, but we're lucky enough to have wonderful friends. So, through a very close friend in London, who knows her personally, and she's handed a copy over, and Jilly Cooper, I now call her Jilly. She's going a little gaga now, but she's still, you know, she must be in her late 80s by now. And she wrote me a 2-page letter saying how much she adored the book, and she of course gave me a blurb, and when we had to put my Joshua to sleep in April, she wrote me a 1-page letter, and she still writes to me, you know, and say, are you feeling better now? And have you gotten over it? So.
As far as I'm concerned, I never kept a pet in my life.
Yes.
Because I'm very scared that I'll get emotionally attached and all those
you can't
things.
Avoid that.
Yeah, I know. So, but I have a feeling that all those people who have feelings for animals or who are animal lovers or pet lovers, I think they're exceptionally warm people and they're a different kind of people
And they're very
altogether.
difficult people. I can say that about myself.
The question that I want to ask you is: do you feel there is some? Do you believe in a past life kind of a thing? Do you believe that he was connected to you or he or they?
Somebody told me who
Yeah,
actually was
because
a
I feel,
medium. Was a medium that he must have saved my life in a past life, or done something heroic for me, and this was payback time, but it was as happy for me as it was for him. I read a little bit about dog lovers.
Sorry, Tanya, I think there was a question here.
Sorry.
Yes, I have. But this might question a little bit out of the books.
Yes.
Your way of writing. How do you see, out of your observation, some people claim the present era is more of fiction oriented rather than poetry oriented.
Yeah.
Like from my observation, I'm from Nepal, and Nepal also the stock of literature house. Now it's very fast growing, and publishing houses.
So, if I can answer your question, at this point in time, there are more people writing poetry in the world than there have ever been at any time in the world. More people writing poetry. That doesn't mean they're getting published.
Really?
More people, because people need hope, and there have never been, because I have friends, although I'm very bad, as I said, on the internet, who are constantly sending me links to poetry networks and poetry publishing online. And I was lucky enough, again, Professor in Goa read my book and read a paper on me, my poetry at a national seminar of women poets, and everybody said, why have we never heard of her? And she says, because she never goes anywhere or shows herself to anyone or does anything on the internet. And through that seminar, one of the women, she runs on a poetry anthology online called Big Bridge. It's called Big Bridge, but it's also called 100 Poets for Change. It's an international poetry magazine. And she very kindly put my work in it, and so, for me things have happened because of good friends helping, basically. None of the effort has been, or very little of it, and I'm very grateful to the Prabha Khaitan Foundation for having me.
I think, Yael, you should get up and say a little about your experience with them.
Not Joshua.
Not
They
Joshua.
read
but Joshua.
Susie's
Them and
letter.
Joshua.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been to a house in Goa, but Yael's been of late. And Yael came back and said, so lovely, but they're really mad. They make chicken stew. So I said, for you? No, for the dogs. Each of them have a bed. And, they make stew for them, they make soup for them.
And constantly Antonio is feeding the dogs under the table. He gets up first thing in the morning and their whole life revolves around Joshua. So I said, sometimes can we all three go for a walk? No way. I was like, why? We never leave Joshua alone in the house. Either you go with Antonio or you go with me. This dog is the most spoiled dog you've ever seen in your
So
life.
you see, he had absolutely no fans, I mean, everybody wanted a life like his, They were actually jealous, and he was also a terrible nuisance. I mean, he would bark when he was fed up at a very low threshold of boredom. See, when he was at home with us, that was fine. You could have 1,000 people and he was a real party boy. He'd stay up till the party was over. He would never go to bed until everybody was in bed, even if it was 5 o'clock. If we took him out, the minute he got bored, he started barking and he wouldn't stop. And then we'd say, I'm sorry, we have to leave, Joshua wants to go home. And everybody was
And they were just about finishing their dessert and be barking
No,
over it.
we were at the entrée stage. It didn't matter to him. We may even be at the aperitif stage. Didn't make any difference. Didn't make any difference.
Had to leave, yeah.
Yeah, we had to leave. Yes.
But Tanya, say about your Thomas. I think
Yes.
he had a lovely
So
personality.
really,
I love Thomas also.
everybody worshipped Thomas.
Maybe the Lord's nose. Like that
Oh
one?
yes, I do very much.
The rose nose.
Yes, I will do that one.
Or any other one like
Yeah, you can no, I
nature
will.
one.
Rose knows. The stars lie when they say they will always be there. The full-fed moon is betrayed by our own perfection. The brave birds raise their voices in praise for the deliverance of dawn. Only the rose knows that there is only today. We balance on a razor's edge that slices the yolk from the white. With each leap towards salvation, the heart is shallower for the meat scooped out of it. We need the stars, fickle as they are. We need the moon, helpless as she is. We need the birds to fill the void. But only the rose has the answer. To embrace the living moment, opening helplessly, wholly, adoringly to the sun, and with dying breath, exhaling ecstasy. So I really think I'm doing the right thing by not wasting my time on promoting my work. Because I know it's true, I mean, we may not be here in half an hour. Why should I waste my time on this, you know, when I could be writing or just looking? I mean, basically you just look when you're an artist or a writer, you just look. And then it comes to you, or the moment stays with you. Anita as a painter knows as well. The moment is just when you want to paint. You paint what you see, and you write about what you know. You write about what you have. There's wonderful writers who can write about things that they've never experienced themselves. Those are exceptionally talented writers. But generally you write about what you know and you paint what you see.
Yeah.
So I mean, you really should enjoy every minute.
What do you think of these new age writers that are there now in India? A
Such
lot of
as?
them. Okay, probably I'll talk about Chetan Bhagat. I somehow don't like his English. I know he has a lot of fans and all, but I just feel that somewhere he's grammatically terribly wrong.
No, but he's actually writing the way he speaks.
Who's this?
Chetan Bhagat. I personally have not read anything he's written, but I just read in the play a 2-page or 3-page article in a very reputable journal, magazine, about Chetan Bhagat and the phenomenon he is.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Bhagat I don't think he himself knows how to speak English.
Probably.
He's simply writing it the way he thinks it, which is probably the way he speaks it, which is also the way millions of Indians speak it. You understand?
Yes.
So obviously he has an impact.
Yes.
They understand it perfectly.
And the problem is, if you happen to contradict somebody saying that this is what my viewpoint is on Chetan Bhagat, the other person probably is quite well read and all, but he's going to he's going to create a scene kind of thing. Oh my God, Chetan Bhagat, you don't like? I mean, how much have you read? It's okay, fine. You
well,
have your
actually,
views.
if you're in any sort of circles where people know about writing or enjoy good writing, if you actually mention Chetan Bhagat, nobody would speak to you again.
That's why I asked you.
This I wanted to know.
Or they would gently avoid you, let's put it that way.
Absolutely.
But
Yes,
that's what I
now
wanted
he's
to
been
hear from
invited
you.
as panelists and he's there on
No, but
TV.
of course,
A lot of his
he's
got
made
the younger generation.
he's making so much money, and he's marketed his book. He's got public.
He's actually a marketing. He's actually
He's a
a marketing
marketing
person. He's
phenomenon.
marketed his book
Yes.
But
really well. That
but
is
look
the
at
main
Shobha
reason.
Day.
Pardon?
Look at Shobha Day. Look at Shobha Day, for example. I have a collection of her journalistic pieces called Shooting from the Hip, which are marvelous. I mean, her article on Mark Tully, and it's written, her article on Mark Tully is written as Mark Tully's bearer, right? Related to the other or something. It was, I was rolling on the floor laughing for half the book. She was so spot on, But if you read her novels now, she's an intelligent woman, she's a bright woman, but she knows what she's doing, which is why she's writing this, and which is why I had a lending library in Bangalore for 5 years called Silver Moon. This was my first venture in India, and I closed it down finally and donated it to an institution because I was so increasingly angry and furious at what people were reading, you see.
Absolutely.
And they come rushing in and say, got the latest John Grisham. And I'd say, I think he's, Sidney Sheldon, I'd say, I think he's dead. Which he actually was. His books are being ghostwritten under his name. He was actually dead. But I just couldn't bear all this wonderful stuff that I collected. I had carpets on the floors, I had muha prints on the walls, I was giving the kids free books. I would make them pay for the comics, but I would, make them borrow a book at the same time for free. And I put my heart and soul into that lending library. And so there's, women, intelligent, professional women who call the magazines books. I read all your books. I said, 3,000 of them, excuse me. No, they're those over there. The magazines, so.